Alright guys, in this next problem, we see Susanna met her friends at 1:35 p.m. She travels for 2 hours 45 minutes. At what time did she begin her trip? So I see that she met at 1:35. She traveled for 2 hours 45 minutes. And what time did she begin? So these are a lot of key words. Her arrival time is the time she met her friends. So let's say that she arrives at 1:35 p.m. I'm going to fix that S real quick. So she arrives at 1:35 p.m. She traveled for 2 hours 45 minutes. So her travel time is 2 hours 45 minutes. And finally, what time did she start? So her starting time. Well, we don't know what her starting time is. That's what we're trying to figure out, so I'm going to put a question mark there. Well, you can take, so let's think here. We know her arrival time, we know her travel time. If we subtract her travel time from her arrival time, we'll get her starting time. So let's just write down that we're going to subtract to find out what time she left. So rather than taking 2 hours 45 minutes away from 1:35 p.m., you could do that and purely find out the value. Let's just round for now. We're going to round 2 hours 45 minutes to 3 hours. It's close to 3 hours. And we know we're off by 15 minutes. So remember that at the end. We've got to get that 15 minutes out of 3 hours. Okay, so if we start at, or if we arrived at 1:35 p.m., I want to write that down over here. So you arrive at 1:35 p.m., and we're going to subtract out 3 hours. Okay, so if we take 1:35 p.m. and subtract out 1 hour, well, you're at 12:35 p.m. now. If you subtract out a second hour here, you'll be at 11:35 a.m. And if you subtract out a third hour here, so let's subtract out 3 hours, well, you're at 10:35 a.m. Okay, well, we know that she did not travel for 3 hours. She traveled for 2 hours 45 minutes. We've got to get rid of that additional 15 minutes of travel time. So I bet some people are thinking, let's subtract 15 minutes from 10:35 a.m., which would take us to 10:20 a.m. That's an earlier time. And that would make the travel time more than 3 hours. It would make it 3 hours and 15 minutes. Put an M-I-N here. Well, that's taking us in the wrong direction. We know that 2 hours and 45 minutes is somewhere in between 2 hours and 3 hours. So rather than subtracting 15 minutes, let's add 15 minutes to 10:35. So this is the wrong time. We want to add 15 minutes to 10:35, which will give us a value of 10:50 a.m. So let's box this information up here. Her starting time is 10:50 a.m.